Hi, I'm Scott Tomlinson with Clinical Trials Ontario, and in this video we're going to look at the letter review pathway of the REB workflow for CTO stream submissions. In particular, this demo will cover the following topics. We're going to provide an overview of the letter review pathway after the letter has been drafted for a submission, and then we'll look at how to assign a letter reviewer to the submission. Then we'll look at reviewing the drafted letter as an assigned letter reviewer to see if any changes are necessary. And finally, we'll look at how to request changes or make changes directly to the letter as a letter reviewer. The letter review pathway is a part of the REB workflow in CTO Stream. It allows the REB to designate an REB member as the letter reviewer who reviews drafted letters to see if any changes are required before they are sent to the study team. For most REBs, the chair is usually the one assigned as the letter reviewer. The letter review process is optional and only applies to submissions where the draft letter action has been used. Some REBs may elect to handle letter reviews outside of this system by another method, such as secure email. Following the REB's decision being recorded for a submission, for example, approve or request modifications, the draft letter and send letter buttons both appear in the action menu at the same time. The REB can skip the letter review if necessary by directly using the send letter action. It is important that REB users are familiar with their REB's SOPs so that they can select the correct option when processing submissions in CTO Stream. If after drafting a letter you accidentally select the letter review required button, you will not be able to progress the application to the next step of the workflow without assigning a letter reviewer. You will need to contact CTO support to request an undo button so that you can go back to the previous step. Once the draft letter has been created, two new action menu buttons become visible in the action menu, which are called Letter Review Required or No Letter Review. If your REB does not utilize the letter review pathway in CTO Stream, then you should select No Letter Review. If your REB does use this feature, then you will need to select Letter Review Required and then assign the designated REB member as the letter reviewer. Anyone with a role for the REB in CTO Stream can be assigned as a letter reviewer for a submission. As mentioned earlier, after the letter reviewer has reviewed the letter, they can either make changes directly or list the required changes within a separate document that the REB can then collate into the letter. We will cover how to do this in more detail later in the video. Once Letter Review Required has been selected for the submission, a new button will appear in the action menu called Assign Letter Reviewer. Assigning a letter reviewer is nearly identical to assigning a reviewer to a submission. Click the Assign Letter Reviewer button and a pop-up window will appear with a list of all the REB members who can be assigned as the letter reviewer. Click the empty field under the Assign Submission column within the row containing the name of the user that you want to assign. Then select Letter Reviewer from the drop-down menu. As you can see, it is the only option available. Complete the action by clicking the green Assign Letter Reviewer button at the bottom of the pop-up window. If the action worked correctly, the pop-up window will disappear and a green message will appear at the top of the page which says Successful. The assigned letter reviewer will receive an email notification letting them know that they have a task to complete in CTO Stream. The email contains a hyperlink taking the user directly to the submission so they don't have to find it within the review tiles of their work area. The assigned letter review action will be recorded along with all of the other previous actions done on the submission in the Timeline tab of the Submission Timeline page. To complete their task as assigned letter reviewer, the user must know how to access the drafted letter so that they can review it. They can access the letter from the Timeline tab of the Submission Timeline page. The drafted letter will be visible in the list of actions under the tab. Locate the draft letter action and click on the paperclip icon to open the letter in a pop-up window. You can download the letter in PDF format by clicking the green download button at the bottom of the pop-up window. The list of actions are sorted in chronological order by default, so the draft letter action should be visible somewhere near the top of the list. After reviewing the letter, the assigned letter reviewer has two different options they can select. They can either indicate that no changes are required using the no change required action, or they can select the change letter action if changes are needed. Once the no change required action is completed, the send letter action will appear in the action menu, which can be used to send the drafted letter as usual. If the letter reviewer determines that changes are required, they can click the change letter action, and then they can either type their changes in point form directly into the text editor, or they can follow the instructions in the pop-up window in order to make their changes directly to the drafted letter. The letter review process has now been completed, and the send letter action will be visible within the action menu. You can use this to send the final version of the letter to the study team. Thanks for watching the video. If you have any questions about CTO Stream or are having any technical issues, visit support.ctontario.ca to submit a help desk ticket. You can visit ctontario.ca for more video tutorials, user guides, quick guides, and tip sheets.